And the red light is
Not
on.
on yet. It's
Is
not
it on
on
now?
yet.
Is it
No,
on?
I
Is
don't
it
see
on?
it.
Is it on?
It's
No,
on.
it's not.
Is it on?
It's
Is it
Why
on
on?
for
it's on for
There
everybody
we
else
go.
except me?
It's been on for 13, 14, 15.
Well,
We're,
shoot.
Well,
I
it's
see it
live
now.
for us. It's not live for Brian H.
All right, now it is.
There it is. There's a little bit of a delay, but it's okay though. So you know what that means. You know that the party has officially started. The drinks have already been laid out. The doors have been opened, and the music is blaring because the Wrestling Realm Now podcast has officially begun. Like I said, this is the hottest party on a Wednesday night into Thursday mornings if you're listening to us live. But guess what? We have a lot once again to get into. This week we have WWE Backlash in France for the first time. I don't know when's the last time WWE's been to France that's been a live pay-per-view. Who knows?
oh,
But we are here to talk about it. Not to mention, we have to discuss the results of the WWE Draft. Did things pan out the way we wanted to? How was our prediction? Did our predictions hold true? Or was it kind of lackluster, like a lot of the fans have been talking about? We're going to get into all of that and more right after the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle your seatbelts. It's time to boogie. Wrestle Around the podcast, launching in 5, 4, 3, 2. Now,
Houston, we have a problem.
and there it is. Welcome to the Wrestling Realm Now podcast, where we take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling. Now, you can watch all of our Wrestling Realm content anytime on youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm. Follow us on all social media platforms, including Instagram, X, Threads, Facebook at Wrestling Realm. That's the Wrestling Realm with 2 W's. Look at this beautiful graphic by Brother Hugh. You can download all of our audio content anytime on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and watch us and subscribe to our Twitch channel. I am your host. That's right. I'm not as tall as Brandon says that I am, but I'm pretty tall. But it's the big man himself, the realness, the real Dwayne Allen in the building today. He is your host. Not just any producer, but a super producer. Brother Hugh has a third A to the A to the S, T to the H to the E, 3 to the R to the D in the building tonight. He is your host, not just any guy, but the guy. Brandon, the guy, the belt king, the curator of championship culture. And he is your host, the heart and soul, the man, the myth, the legend, not just any heel, but the heel. The man, Mr. Steal Your Show. I said it. Hollywood. Brian H. Waters in the building. You like what I did that with that one, Brian H. Mr. Steal Your Show? No, that was clever, wasn't it?
Right.
It was cool.
No, it's okay. We can keep going. Listen, if you want to support the brand for all your Wrestling Realm merchandise, head over to WrestlingRealm.com. Yes, so you can shop at WrestlingRealm.com for all your Wrestling Realm apparel and merchandise. We have t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, and more. In the weeks soon to come, we will be doing some live unboxings. I know you're tired of hearing me saying that. You want to hear it happen, but trust me, it will. Just be patient. We'll be doing live unboxings of some of the merchandise that we have, just to give you all a closer look at some of the creative buzz that we have and that we're trying to put out and share with the world. So if you would like to support the Wrestling Realm, that is where you can do so at WrestlingRealm.com. Now, if that's not enough for you, for all exclusive shows and bonus materials, we have a Patreon channel. You can subscribe for just as low as $1. As Brian says, just pay the one. So it's patreon.com/the wrestling_realm. That is for all exclusive shows and bonus material. We have Brian Just Starts. We have Realness Reacts. We have so much that we are trying to ramp up for our Patreons and our fellow patrons. Once again, shout out to those who have already subscribed. There's quite a few things on there already. And like I said, we will be adding so much more in the time to come, especially more stories that we cannot necessarily say live on the air. So patreon.com/the wrestling_realm is where you can find those exclusive shows and bonus material. We also have a blooper reel. Is that blooper reel up? It should be. But yes, pay the one. Subscribe for just as low as $1 at patreon.com. Don't forget, this is the Wrestling _Realm. A lot of people have been forgetting the underscore. That's why you have an issue trying to find us. It's not our fault. It was already taken. But like I said, if you like to advertise with the Wrestling Realm, we can partner up. You can contact us at wrestlingrealm@gmail.com and use the subject line in the email that says advertise. We will reach out to you. We will give you rates and we can come to an agreement. So that way, if you have a show you're doing, if you have something up and coming, you can also partner with us and we can help advertise your business, your show, whatever it is. We're a very community oriented group. So this is what we're here for. So if you want to advertise your business, your show, your company, anything that falls in line with our values and our business practices, you can do so. Once again, contact us at wrestlingrealm@gmail.com. Baseball season is in full swing, and guess what? SeatGeek has partnered with us, the Wrestling Realm. So for any one-time purchase of $50 or more, save $20 and by using promo code Wrestling Realm. That's right. You know you've done something smart when they give you your own promo code. So it's Wrestling Realm, all caps. Baseball season, spring festivals, concerts, so much going on, especially during this time of year as the weather changes. Now, it's our job to do our part and help you save a few dollars. So once again, if you want to save $20 on your tickets for any one-time purchase of $50 or more, use promo code at SeatGeek.com Wrestling Realm. Like I said, we're here to save you money. People have saved us money, so we're here to do the same thing for you. Once again, shout out to all those who have used the code. We've gotten quite a bit of feedback about people who've testified that they have used the promo code and they have indeed saved themselves $20 on their tickets. Like I said, inflation is real. And prices are going up, but there is no reason why you cannot go out during this time of year and enjoy yourself. So once again, use that promo code SeatGeek.com Wrestling Realm. Now, with that being said, good brothers, this is the time of the show where we advertise the latest, the greatest, the newest brand to the Wrestling Realm family, franchise, whatever you want to call it. This is the show that has knocked down doors, that has put people over, that has brought so many new eyes to the product. In case you don't know what I'm referring to, follow the bird. That is correct. Championship Culture Season 2 is underway. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m., youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm. Playlist Championship Culture. Oh boy, did we not have a show yesterday during that live recording of Championship Culture? Now, this is the part of the show, if you're watching, if you're listening, where we ask either Brother Hugh or Brother Brandon to give a little description about what happened on Tuesday night show. They look at each other funny and they have to do like this whole rock paper scissors thing to figure out who's going to say something. So let's just sit back and observe how this goes down in Chinatown. So, Brother Hugh, Brother Brandon, Championship Culture Season 2. What was yesterday's episode all about?
That's a good question. That's
Championship Culture WrestleMania, baby. That's what we're calling it.
That's what we're tagging it as.
That's what we're calling it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The most guests at one time on one show for Championship Culture. And it was entitled Big Gold versus the World. So, yes, indeed. On, one of the Realness's takeover shows, I posed a question and he told me, and I'm going to just paraphrase, I'm not no ordinary wrestling fan. I knew some stuff. So we can't get in that conversation. But I guarantee you, if you go back and watch the episode of Big Gold versus the World, he answers the question. And he couldn't do it alone. So that's the thing. We had the super producer as the third there. But we also said Hollywood was there. Gave a lot of insight. Changed a lot of people's minds, as he likes to do. Realness. Yes, I got to thank the guys from the Wrestling Room that definitely tuned into their other show of Championship Culture and got to hang out with the boys of Championship Culture. But also got to give a special shout out to Mike from Mouth and Alpha Mike Podcast. We did not know. This man has been doing this under a year, but definitely knows his stuff, knows some history, and you can tell he has a passion for the business. And then on Wrestling After Dark, we found out something, which was hilarious. And we'll get to that after this when Dwayne gets his roots. But I also want to thank Marcus from Four Sides of the Ring, Marcus Hernandez, one of the co-hosts for Four Sides of the Ring, for joining us as well. Good group of guys. Can't thank them enough, especially to the brothers in the wrestling room for joining us for our epic episode of the Big O versus the World, which the last time I checked, the amount of streams it had on Twitter was 1,400, I think.
Yeah, boy.
Streams on X.
Yes.
So Dwayne, I believe your curse is broken. We just got to stream it on X.
No, listen to me. As long as you don't advertise me beforehand or put my face on the thumbnail, you're good.
That is true. That is true.
But before we get to the special thing, we had something happen during the show, which was, I guess, the finale to the show. I don't have my. Oh, yes, I do. I saved it just in case. We did something with this, right? And in here were all the entries for the Big Gold giveaway. And we shook this up. And we shook it, and when I went to go draw it, luck would have it. And there's still names in here. You can still see. Everybody left me here on purpose. And the name we pulled, it was so funny because...
I'm just going to show the clip.
Okay, and then if you went to youtube.com/thewrestleroom and subscribe, you got another entry. So some people got 3 entries. Some people got 1. Some people got none. But of all the entries we got, are you ready?
Wow.
You ready?
The winner is.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry.
I literally hit my hand in a bag and I stopped, so nobody would think I was doing anything.
The shenanigans.
So the winner was, ironically, Marcus from Four Sides of the Ring that was actually on the podcast. So this it's crazy because he only had 2 entries because he didn't submit a video because he doesn't own a belt. So this is the very first belt that he got, and it's being shipped to him. So he's excited to get his first belt, being a Big Gold and winning it. And he says it's going to be his birthday gift because we found out that him and Brother Hugh are birthday twins. They share birthday.
Twinsies.
Yes, sir.
Right. And he said it so calmly, like, "Oh, I'll get it for my birthday." And we was like, "When's your birthday?" He's like, "Sunday." And of course, Hugh lit up. Hugh lit up as almost as much as when he saw Dolph Ziggler in his white boots again. But
look at the white boots. Look at the white boots.
White.
But that was the show. I would say definitely go back. It was a very, very informative, interesting, and I wanted more debate, but it was like the points that were made are kind of like, oh, you can't debate that. Oh, man, he got us. And Marcus definitely led us to another show. He did a Dwayne on us. He definitely hit us with a Dwayne move.
Part 2?
The gift that keeps on giving.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yes. And what did he say? It was a very interesting clip that Mike said people are in love with the design more than the prestige. And I was like, oh,
Mars.
he just ruined it for me. Because I was like, that is true. But this is the part of the show where we go over to Dwayne because he has notes. Even when he's on the show, ladies and gentlemen, he still have notes. When he's in the comments making his notes, he still has notes when he has the show.
Absolutely.
When he creates the show, he has notes for the show. So I'm going to turn it back to you, sir, because I'm going to tell you something special we figured out. But go ahead, sir.
Well, first, before I get to my notes, I'd like to celebrate Marcus and his win. He that was his very first championship belt that he will have underneath his mantle. And it seemed fitting. I'm glad that like I said, having Mike and Marcus on the show was good brothers. Obviously, it was fun, but the fact that he got a chance to say, "This is my first belt," I mean, well, this is perfect, man. You come in, you do a show, you rep the brand, and you win a championship belt. So it's no better way to go out than that way. So once again, congratulations to Marcus on your first champ. I know how I felt when I got my first championship belt, or at least when Brian Gage got his, and then you hold it for a week. That's usually how we used to do things. But
he said he's going to celebrate the same way you did. He's going to walk around the house with it around his waist.
He has to. He already made reservations on how he's going to be carrying that belt. So
yes.
So shout out to Marcus. 4 Sides of the Ring. That was fun. Championship culture. Once again, youtube.com/the wrestling realm playlist championship culture every Tuesday, 8 p.m. And guess what? Brother Brandon is correct, because guess what? I've got notes. Right. It hates when I mess up the audience, so here it comes anyway.
It's happening.
That's for you, Brian H. He hates it. Now, with that being said, I've got notes. So once again, Big Gold versus the World. It was such a fun show is because we got to cover a multitude of moments that associated the silhouette or the championship of the World Heavyweight Championship, known as the Big Gold. So we had things of the past, we had things of the ruthless aggression era, and not too much this new stuff, but there were a few points that were made that I thought was interesting that I wanted to elaborate on, but I had to kind of like put it off to the side. So I'll say this: the fact that Mike made the comment, he said, when we have to compare the legacy of the World Heavyweight Championship versus the world, we were referring to the lineage of every other wrestling promotion that matches up to it. Now, obviously, there's only one that really matters, which is the WWE. We're talking about 70 plus years of the WWE Championship. And I wasn't even looking at it this way until they forced me to answer this question. This is something I did not want to answer. And I knew it was going to be long-winded and elaborate. And this is kind of how it spin off into this show, Big Gold versus the Worlds, because you have to say, well, what is originally going into the situation? I originally believed that the Big Gold's historic heritage would outlast everybody else, including 70 plus years of the WWE. But then when I had to sit down and I broke it down, no pun intended, Brian H., I was like, wait a minute.
I see what he did there.
That you see, now that was smooth, right? You saw what I did there. There was a downward slope, and there was a level of disrespect associated with the championship that I feel like we purposely forgot. We purposely didn't get into. We purposely tried to, sweep it under the rug, and it damaged the credibility of it. And I'm like, wait a minute. Part of that 60 years, part of that 70 years of lineage had to uplift this particular championship. So I was like, wait a minute. When you think about it, this lineage's legacy was on life support. And if you don't believe me, my notes. When the NWA separated itself from World Championship Wrestling, because that's how we ended up getting Shane Douglas being crowned as the NWA World Champion. Eventually, he threw that down and claimed himself to be the Eastern Championship Wrestling, eventually Extreme Championship Wrestling champion. Look what happened to the lineage of the NWA. It was it went from being transformed from the original, like literally global World Heavyweight Championship title that represents all professional wrestling to being relegated on the indies. Like and eventually TNA wrestling, and eventually TNA split from it. And then they've had so many presidents over the years, but it showed me what can happen to the lineage of a championship and how much it's downplayed. Now it exists today, but it's a conversation. It's a championship that's not even in the conversation right now. And I feel like WCW's part of that lineage attached to the Big Gold could have potentially been in that same boat without the WWE, which is why when it comes to Big Gold versus the World, I agree with Mike when he said that we clamor for the design more than we're concerned about the heritage. Ouch. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, here you go, Brian H. One more for the road. And we're out of here. So if you want to go back and you want to watch the entire show, which I suggest that you do, go back once again for the 1,000th time, youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm, playlist Championship Culture. Go back and watch that show. Go back and watch the rest of season 2. There's so much more to come. I'm having such a fun time with Championship Culture and everything that's been going on, and there's so much more to come. So if you're a belt person and you want to learn about things, this is the place to be. So yeah, once again, youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm, every Tuesday 8 p.m. playlist Championship Culture. Brothers, this is the time that we start asking each other questions. Like,
before you move on, it was one thing that we was waiting for. So exclusive to Rum After Dark, Mike says, "Hey guys, I got a surprise for you," and we're like, "Okay, what's the surprise?" And then somebody pops in the frame. He said, "Hey, this is Keith," and Keith that was in the comments is his roommate. So his roommate joined in the conversation. So that was kind of cool that we got to see who that was, because we were all like, "Who's this Keith joining in the comments?" And it was his roommate. He just moved in. I think did you leave already, Dwayne? Or were you there?
I think I caught him at the front end. Like he had. No, I did. I saw his. I was there for his lady. Was I there when he popped in?
I don't think you were.
Yeah, because he said, "I got a surprise for you," and I was like, "Oh," because we were both. Because he said, "No, you were there," because he said he put a surprise on X for you, and then you went on X and saw it.
Oh yes, he
and
did.
Then he's like, "This is Keith."
Up. And there was him right there. No, yeah, that was actually that was cool. I thought that was fun because I was like, "What is he talking about?" And everybody went, and I was like, "Oh boy, he got us. He got us." Freshman, he pulled a Dylan, and
he showed up did.
He
definitely did
some design work clearly. So shout out to those guys. We definitely plan on doing something with them in the future. Like I said, 2 up and comers, man. They're really good at what they do. Very articulate, very knowledgeable about the business. And I know Brian Ace was giving Mike a compliment. He said, "Man, look, you and I, there's a 10-year difference, but yet the way you approach what we talk about, there's no gaps, which is a big deal in our industry." Is because, like I said, we see Twitter polls and we see stuff. And recently we saw a young lady voting on. She was a graphic designer voting on the top WrestleMania logos, and we were like, "Sweetheart, you're aged out. You're not qualified to have this conversation."
This isn't enough glitter. This isn't pretty enough.
You're biased. Comments.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to be able to lift. I want an OG graphic designer to sit there and judge everything from start to finish.
That's but because the realness will kick you out of group chat if you ain't bringing it.
That is
really happened.
Have I done that before?
Yes, she.
I've forgotten things.
Look, you know what? I ain't even gonna argue with you. You too young for this conversation.
Yeah, you're not qualified to have this conversation. But we didn't have that, with Mike or with Marcus. So it was like, these guys are really good brothers. They were very grateful, very thankful, and like I said, looking forward to getting to know them a little bit better and helping them, kind of help elevate their platforms and, kind of return the favors to them. So shout out to Marcus from Four Sides of the Ring, the rest of those guys over there, as well as Mike and how do you say it? It's mouthing off with wrestling.
Mouthing off with Mike.
Mouthing off with Mike.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So
that's why I said the man who likes to mouth off.
Right. Special shout out to him because hey Mike, Cody showed up today, baby. Got him. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you. You done started something now, so now I'm gonna have to start investing in some Funko Pops. This is the first one, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, because clearly, if you go to Four Sides of the Ring, we behind. They got walls and walls and walls full of Funko Pops. We're so far behind. Like, you got to combine all of our collections to get like half of one of their collections.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So they're Funko Pop guys.
Yeah.
Funko Pop guys.
I just do the wrestling. I don't do the rest of them.
Yeah, that's cool. You crack.
I do superheroes. But when I say
Brian did Capcom.
Wow. It's a brief pause.
Do they have capes or not? That's why he did content.
He said Capcom.
But they got capes, right?
Y'all finish or you done?
We done right now. We done for now.
Okay, for now.
Well, listen,
don't even matter. It's not even real.
It doesn't even matter. You hear that? Coming from a wrestling fan. It doesn't even matter.
Right.
It's real to me, damn it. Ain't what they would say. It's real to me.
Y'all can kill y'all guys, and then they can just write in somebody else.
Right.
I felt that when Macho Man died. You can't do the same thing.
Oh, come on.
All I'm gonna say is you haven't watched X-Men 97. It hit you in the feels.
Look, I remember,
and I'm not going to say nothing else because Dwayne hasn't caught up yet.
Notorio, what is his name? Naruto. My cousin Adisha, she was crying. She said, "Check on people," and then we literally sat there, was eating dinner, and I said to my son, "So what's going on with this?" He broke down and started crying. I'm like,
"Oh no!
Oh my gosh, is that serious? Oh, I'm about to check it out."
I'm like, "You really crying?"
Oh boy! See, this is different. Cartoons weren't this. They weren't that serious back in the day. Like
apparently, that joint,
we got to look into that. But you know what else we have to look into? We have to look in what the heck we watched this goddamn week, because I'm trying to tell you, I'm about to make a statement. I'm about to drop it's not going to drop a bombshell, but I got to make this statement. And brother, you're going to get a kick out of this one. So,
oh yeah,
if you've never watched our show before, well, I'm sure you have. If you've never listened before, which I'm sure you have. Every week we do a segment called "What Did You Watch?" Whatever it is that the brothers watched this week outside of our normal programming, just to get our minds in the right space, so we can have a little bit of a brother discussion about what did you watch. So, listen close. You're going to hear a certain sound that you should be used to hearing. Shout out to Brian H. Here it comes. You ready? It's my favorite sound. It's got 90s video game vibes to it. What did you watch, brothers? Who wants to go first? What did you watch this week?
What did you watch, Realness? What did you watch?
I'm gonna tell you what I watch. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go last because it's right into the first segment of tonight's show. So,
well, I'll just say clearly it was obvious what I watched. I went down the WC rabbit hole that I wish I didn't go down because, like I was telling you,
how far did you start? Let's start there. Let me ask you that first. Where did you start? Look, dang, look at him. He's rubbing his face.
I went all the way back to the NWA WCW World Championship.
You went back to the 80s.
Yeah, I skipped over the international title. That's why I was mad when you brought it up because I was like, that was the dark years. We don't want to talk about that. But then I was reliving Booker T's runs, and I realized you talking about is that where the phrase overbooking came from? There was so much stuff happening in every match.
During the Russo Ed Ferrara era?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was so
yeah.
I don't think they had one song. Like one of the matches, I think it was him and Jeff Jarrett was fighting on Nitro for the title. And like Goldberg just came out for reasons and just threw Jeff Jarrett over the barricade. I was like, so we just
no follow match.
Yeah, it was the most random stuff ever. It was like, oh, somebody about to have a match. Never mind, it's a promo. So it's just it's so much randomness. I don't remember it this way, but then I'm like, oh God, I used to watch this. Like this is
it was a cluster funk of product that was WCW offered at the time. You know who had the best run of that entire time period, that awkward 98 to 2001 era? Terry Funk. Terry Funk did some entertaining hardcore stuff during that time. Him and Johnny the Bull Stamboni did some fun stuff, which I seriously I will go back and watch his Terry Funk stuff from that era.
Terry Funk was like 50 at the time, wasn't he?
Who knows? You never know how old 65. Terry Funk was. Yeah,
he was only 65.
Yeah, but he was collecting Social Security check back.
Yes, well, come on.
I know he just looked old, but he was.
He looked the same for the last 20 years.
Yeah, he definitely did. Think about it. He just looked he looked like the same person. If you watch him in 99 or 2001 or 91, it's the same person.
Snyder, that's his favorite wrestler of all time. He loved him some Terry Funk.
Terry Funk's my favorite old timer. He's my favorite. Like it's him and Jerry Lawler. Those are my when I go back and watch their stuff. And I'm talking about I'm not talking about Terry Funk of like yesteryear of the 70s and 80s. I'm talking about like Terry Funk with stripy pants from the 90s.
With the cut-off shirt. With the shirt.
Cut-off shirt, exactly.
Yeah.
You said Nick Bockwinkel.
Yeah, man. One of the best talkers.
He's underrated. I'm afraid to do it because it's before my era. And you know how I feel about people speaking on stuff they didn't see. But I think I'm qualified enough that we might have to do like an 80s thing. Because there's a lot of hidden gems of the 80s that it's like
Eric's.
That's another rabbit hole I'm fighting to go down. But that's okay. We'll divert into that later. I'm sorry. Brother Hugh.
Watch some David, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Gotta watch some David Von Erich, man.
David Von Erich, man.
That David Von Erich, man. He was something serious. Watch that Iron Claw. You watch that Iron Claw, you're gonna go down the rabbit hole because they don't do a good job telling the story in WWE. But man, I tell you. Because
that's wonderful deep. I hope he sees this. Brother Hugh,
he know it's all
love. You watch this week?
Well, I ran across a clip of Dominic Mysterio following one Liv Morgan back in the backstage area doing Jey Uso's promo. I might have just snitched on my big time.
Yeah, you looking back like you make it. That's how you know something was funky. You look nervous. You know how like you see something funky, do you start going like this to the left and to the right? Like, oh, let me make sure.
Right. But looking at Dominic Mysterio kind of reminded me of some, Eddie Guerrero. Just the whole look, the whole feel. So I went back and I started watching some old WCW stuff with Eddie Guerrero because also I was listening to old wrestling music earlier today and his music came on the old LWO WCW.
Yo, you put me onto that.
Yes, man, it's a banger. It's a banger, bro.
You were walking around class singing it,
bro. When the horns come in, though, oh my god! Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I watched
school theme in WCW that was trash.
Right. So I went back and I watched some of his matches. Right now, I have on Halloween Havoc him and Rey Mysterio, of course, and dressed in the Phantom
That belt
gear.
show got all of y'all. Y'all are going down these WCW rabbit holes.
Yes,
I knew
man. Yes.
Big Gold,
yes.
Big Gold's got a hold on you guys.
I said it on Twitter earlier. I was going to do it, and
I was like,
I started with Eddie Guerrero. I feel like I'm going to go with Booker T next, but I'm down. I'm in the rabbit hole right now, and this is the cruiserweight division. You know how I feel about the cruiserweights, man. Cruiserweights, wherever there it is, right there. Yes, sir. Let the horns come in real quick.
We vibing out to Eddie Guerrero's team / LWO's original team.
Mhm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He would come out so smooth and so like just
He
like
would.
Like,
you just shoulder block, just come out like this.
I was like, okay, Eddie.
Come on, horn! I'm waiting for the horns.
Here it go. Here it go. Woo! Let's go. Let's go.
No, you know who got an underrated music around that time now?
Who's that?
Rey
Around
Mysterio.
that time,
Rey Mysterio's WCW music.
which one? Like hip hop Rey Mysterio or like mass Rey Mysterio?
I was gonna say the baggy pants Ray or the...
Nah, 97 Ray.
Not
because the
Babyface
baggy
Ray,
pants
yeah.
was horrible.
You got to find that on YouTube because keep going. I'm gonna pull it up though.
Okay, well, go ahead, brother. Here, so you
Nah,
continue
nah,
down this
that's-
WCW rabbit hole. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it. I right now, like I said, I'm on Halloween Havoc, watching Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, classic
Yeah,
match.
that song from that one.
Okay, from that match.
And hey,
That was that superhero
Sabrina,
music.
bro.
That's exactly what I thought it was. Like that
Yeah.
I was gonna say that
Darth
was the
Vader
best.
music.
And then look, if you see the
yep.
on the video,
And look, and he's got the old like the tight neck strap mask on. Rey Mysterio was
Yeah.
that dude,
He was.
uh,
He was.
He
He
was.
was everything.
especially with
was
that
way- I
Spider-Man,
like
Spider-Man outfit
that
he had
Rey.
on.
this one can go
Yeah.
home.
No, see there you go. No, we're not going to tell you.
This
Bernie,
one just playing his greatest hits. I'm at
You,
the
you see what
He's
Right.
playing his greatest hits.
WWE stealing some more ideas. Because we definitely had this discussion on Monday about how everybody be turning on Rey Mysterio,
mhm.
and then today on
Oh,
social
you saw
media-
that the compilation thing when they was like
Yeah.
everybody that turned on Rey. It's like 20 minutes of this. This is terrible.
That's why I was mad that Andrade they not on the same show because I knew Andrade was next. I said, oh yeah, he
No,
about to get ready.
I don't trust, and if they didn't move, because I don't trust Andrade. Andrade has never been a good guy in my mind.
I don't
And
like him as
Carlito,
a good guy.
like I don't know why anybody trusted Carlito in the first place. I said
Right.
Carlito,
Bro, he had a
has never been a
mustache.
good guy.
He spits in the face
the
of people
face
who want to
of
be
people.
cool. He had a mustache. I'm like, he looks like a heel.
The only reason he's popular right now is because he came out at Backlash, which we're going to get into. But when it was in Puerto Rico and he saved the day,
Yeah,
that's about as good of a guy he was going to be. I said Carlito could not be trusted. I'm happy that he's here. I hate the black boots, but at the end of the day, you can't trust the guy. But you know,
exactly. Hey, big bro Jermaine in the building. Shout
oh, we
out
got
to
people
Jermaine.
following that. Brian, what did you watch this week, sir?
I'm gonna tell you what I'm watching now.
Mhm.
It's the YouTube video, the story of Stone Cold versus The Rock, WrestleMania 15.
My favorite match.
That's one more fight.
No,
Was
that's
that,
WrestleMania
that was
17.
okay.
I don't-
that was epic though.
I refuse to
The
rank
Limp
them
Biscuit one.
because
Yeah.
those three, that
They
trilogy,
told different stories.
different stories. They all mean something different for me, you know. And like this one, this is my first WrestleMania back as
Mhm.
far as everything, and it's just back to school days, because Brother Hugh was playing in the travel league at the time, so he was all pumped up for WrestleMania, and this was actually when it was in that trash city of Philadelphia, also,
Philly.
but yeah,
Just not feeling it, huh?
no, keep
I
WrestleMania
don't
out
like
of Philly. That's why hopefully the Knicks will take care of them tomorrow.
So you mad at the Sixers because of what happened at WrestleMania? That's terrible.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
That's you
That's
talking
my
about the
man.
war
The
fan
Knicks,
base.
should have closed it. They should have closed the series. Now we gotta watch them go back there. But yeah, this whole thing, this whole buildup was just so epic because it's the first time we haven't had this match, like we haven't had it for the world title yet. And it was, like we all know Austin versus McMahon was the thing, but McMahon having The Rock in there, and The Rock was able to make the story about him. It wasn't just one of those things where it's like, all right, you just a placeholder for Vince. Like, no, Rock had Rock came to light, and I didn't realize how much. I think up until like I ain't finished his book yet, but started reading it, and I was like, wait,
are we talking about Austin's book or Rock's?
The Rock's book. And I was
The
like,
Rock,
man,
okay,
he
got
was this is his first WrestleMania main event, this is a big deal for him, and
Yeah.
obviously, he wouldn't win a WrestleMania main event till 28, but
10, your bloodline.
Huh?
Your bloodline.
Well, but like this, it was a big deal. But I didn't. I always thought of the moment about Stone Cold until later. I was like, no, this. I knew it was I knew the match was a big deal. But as far as The Rock and the main event of WrestleMania,
Sure, yeah.
Because a lot of times you don't think about the loser. Like, yo, it's a big deal for them. Maybe with the exception of like somebody who has 2 WrestleMania main events, that'd be a Sid Vicious. Everybody else you kind of think it was like, oh, yeah, it's a big deal. It was in a WrestleMania main event.
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense, especially when you put it that way. But let me tell you, brother, what I watched this week. So I went back and I watched. I said I got to see this match. I said there was a match that was circulating, and I'm like, I'm seeing bits and pieces, and I'm like, here's how my wrestling brain works. It's like I'm sitting here, I'm minding my business, I'm looking at you all, and there's something that happens. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on over here? Okay, cool. Now see it again over there. And I'm like, then it starts popping, and after a while, I'm like this, and I'm like, wait, time out. I'm seeing different stuff hitting on the left to the right. I gotta figure out. Let me go see what's going on. That's how I know God wants me to see something. And I'm like, okay, He wants me to see this match. And I went back and I watched the main event of AAA's Triple Mania 32 main event with Dolph Ziggler, Nic Nemeth versus Alberto El Patron. That was a terrible accent, but that's how I feel. That's how I say his name, Alberto El Patron. Alberto El Patron. I said, let me go watch this match. And I watched this match, right? Didn't really get a chance to. First of all, I couldn't. I was scouting around trying to find the full match, let alone the entire show. Found the match. I put it on. I'm watching it. I'm saying to myself, there's no way in the world that this man Dolph Ziggler should not be in the WWE right now. First of all, Alberto El Patron. He didn't look like he was in the best shape, but don't get me wrong, he's a huge name. He's a big main event player, especially in especially in Mexico, especially in AAA. And of course, he would hold the AAA Mega Championship because it's that's kind of the pride and the joy of that culture's championship. You know what I mean? And it's something I feel like once again globally we'll eventually dive into and try to help bring the light when it comes to the Mexican influence in wrestling, Hispanic influence in professional wrestling. But I had to go watch it. And I sat there and I watched this man, Dolph Ziggler, for about, I don't know how long the match was. I watched this man put on a clinic. I watched this man sell. I watched this man make Alberto El Patron look like $1 million with a t-shirt on. Like he had like an Under Armour t-shirt or something on. He couldn't even keep it down. I was like, I don't know what that's about. But look at that. See that? I was so thoroughly impressed with just everything that I saw them as. And I said, there's no way in the world that this dude, they sat there and asked this dude, like, hey, look, we want you to be a producer and not be a part of the show, not be a part of this show anymore. Like it didn't make any sense.
Could you imagine? He would actually give you a match that Cody would actually a memorable Cody Rhodes match.
You always taking shots, aren't you?
But I'm talking about the match, not the story. Like you remember Cody's stories, but do we remember? Do we think about the actual matches? Right? Maybe.
No, you're right. Quick question, brother Hugh. I don't think I was able to get that one in here as far as the graphic with Dolph Ziggler. Would you mind uploading it? Because I got to see this. We have to have a conversation about this. I want to make my statement, but we have to have a conversation. This is a serious conversation.
All right, give me a second.
Yeah. So when you get it situated, just hit the present button and then just upload, and then it'll pop up right there,
bro.
But go ahead, Brian. You were saying, you said this. He would give Cody Rhodes the match because we all know. Like, let me just preface it for people that may not be paying attention. Brian, we all know that when you win championships, the champion and the contender are just as important, right? Like we got the rebirth of Shinsuke overnight because he became a contender. He didn't win, but that was one of the best last man standing matches I've ever seen in WWE. Period. And immediately, even in that loss, Shinsuke became a credible threat because he was taking everybody out after that. Yeah. So in this situation, you said that Dolph Ziggler would give Cody Rhodes that match that would he would have to earn, because first of all, I watched this man in the ring, Brian H. Patron couldn't keep up with him, but Dolph Ziggler's so freaking good. He slowed down for him. Like he made all his spots mad. I said, there's no way in the world this man is out here in the global world. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad that he's going on his world tour. I'm glad that he's having his global run. But I was like, this guy has it, because I watched him work matches with young dudes and said, you can't tell the difference, because when you got an older guy that's in shape, they all move the same. But I watched him come down to that level, and I was like, yo, this is unreal. So, but
did you watch the one with Moose? Did you watch him and Moose?
I did, but you know, Moose to me is always limited. So, like, even if Dolph Ziggler slows down for him, like to me, Alberto El Patron can always work. He was one of my favorites. He wrestles a different style, but he could keep up with everybody. Moose has always been limited to me because of his size, and like he's not a Barry Windham, Scott Hall kind of guy to me. You know what I mean?
But he made Moose look decent. You get what I'm saying? Like he has that magic.
His job. So that's his job. So I'm just gonna. But this is ridiculous, though. But Brownish, you go ahead and explain what you were saying about Cody. I had to get
we know, like Cody can work. You know, I think when you have super high expectations for him, this was when he was outside of WWE, you would be left disappointed, a la him and Kenny Omega Supercard.
I forgot about it.
Yeah, you know, but I remember, because I remember staying up for that match. I was like, oh yeah, this is the match. I've been waiting for this. The story's been good. And then it was just like, it's like when you keep drinking a soda and you waiting to get that good belch and you don't.
Oh, that's indigestion. That hurts.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Stuck in the chest.
So, and that's where it was.
That.
But when you look at like his match with his brother,
classic. There you go.
You know, it's like, right. And then even the in-ring stuff was just great.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like he can do it, but I think with Dolph, even if they say, all right, just go out there and put on a 5-star classic when, you know, go in cold, they would be able to do it just because Dolph Ziggler's that guy that he know how to make sure he accents everybody's strengths.
Facts. And that's what I saw. Everything you said, bro, it's exactly what the heck I saw. And I'm like, brothers, I'm telling you, I was watching it like thoroughly, like, yo, this is not okay. Like, I'm like, yo, there's no way in the world you ask that guy to be a producer and like just you getting older, hang it up. I'm like, no. And I feel the same way about Bobby Roode. I feel the same way about Shelton Benjamin. I understand Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode was already that was his post-career that he's like, well, let me just get this started now. I get that. Shelton Benjamin,
injuries he had.
Yeah, like he had a really bad neck injury. And at this point in his career, he doesn't want to mess it up. He was already older when he came to WWE. Sure, we wanted to see a better Bobby Roode run, but if he's comfortable, and not to mention neck injuries heal. We've seen what happened with Austin, those guys. Bobby Roode is 40 in his 40s. He might have in 5 or 6 years one more match or Royal Rumble run in. You know what I mean? And he'll be in a much more healthier space. So I get that. Shelton Benjamin, same way. I get it. He's a vet and he's one of those guys. But Dolph Ziggler, god dang it, that man has not lost a step. I said there's no way in the world. There's no way in the world you ask this guy to hang it up now and be like, well, just work backstage and put matches together. No disrespect to anybody, because that's a tremendous talent to be able to do. Because shout out to Sean DeVar, shout out to Jamie Noble, shout out to a lot of those guys that do an excellent job. Shout out to TJ Wilson, you know what I mean? And even Kurt Angle's son that it used to be a part of
Jason Jordan.
Yeah, Jason Jordan, yes, used to be a part of American Alpha. It's it's an unbelievable skill, but brother, I was like, yo, he has not lost a step, and I was blown away. So, like I said, shout out to him, being shout out to Dolph Ziggler's World Tour, Nic Nemeth, and the new AAA Mega Champion. But what does everybody else think? I know, but brother Brandon, he didn't say too much about Zigzag, but we already know how brother Hugh feels, and I'm sure he's going to give us 2 cents. But
yeah.
But
he's taking over, man. Mexico.
How do you feel about his?
We got titles, baby.
Listen to me. He's on a global world tour. We all seen this before, right? And we were like, if anybody's going to have a turn, it's going to be him. And now it's his turn. What do you think about his global world tour so far, brother Brandon?
I like the fact that he's not stable in one place. I think he's doing what Matt Cardona did, but he's doing it his way. You know what I mean? He's not just going to reinvent himself. He's going to still show that show off. He's going to still show people that, hey, they weren't using me, but I still got a lot left in my tank. And who's to say he won't come back in 2 years? Who's to say he won't come back and be the person that dethrones somebody straight to the world title picture? I'm glad that he's in these spaces that, we always wanted to see him in, but he was, 12 years in WWE? No, almost 20 years. How long was he in WWE?
Yeah, it was almost 20
years.
Almost 20 years. So he missed out on that. He missed out on those chances, but now he's getting them. And now it's a good thing for the fans. They get to see what shoulda, woulda, coulda been. I'm just worried that what do you do with him? Like, always when they get the title, what's next? Because the person they drop it to. Exactly. Yep. Because like in TNA, really, if he didn't take it from Moose, he would have been a perfect person, in my opinion, to take it from Moose, because then that could have led to him and Josh Alexander, him and Speedball Mike Bailey, him and all these people that be waiting to see with him. That we don't want to see I'm Moose, I'm the heel. Look, I have a faction. No, we want to see.
He's still getting his first run. I'm like, Moose, you've been and you're the top guy for so long. You just getting a run.
So Moose is doo-doo.
I mean, you said it, man. I got no. I don't know. I got no beef with Moose.
I'm gonna just say this. I'll just say this about Nic Nemeth. And I know people are gonna hate when I say this. Just stay away from AEW. Stay away,
please.
That ain't it, man. That ain't it. You get lost in the sauce, man. We see.
Now, don't get me wrong. If you want to wrestle a Kenny Omega, a Daniel Bryan, anybody on the roster, do it in Defy. Do it at GCW.
There you go.
Do it at another show. Please do not go to AEW, even if it's a one-off, even if it's just for that, because I feel like he'll lose his steam.
Yeah, because I'm not.
He'll go there and lose.
His brother
lost in AEW,
there, so he know better.
But
is he still over there? Or did he leave?
No, I think he's leaving.
Yeah,
I think he's.
They didn't re-sign him.
But then
he showed up in TNA, didn't he?
Recently, he did.
I believe. Yeah,
he's been with him for the most part. Now I know not in everything, but I've seen a good chunk of him.
But what I was trying to say was, if Nic Nemeth, a loss in AEW is going to hurt him more than a loss in an independent. So if he wrestles Kenny Omega, let's say in Defy or somewhere else at a different wrestling promotion, and he loses, great match, we're good. We still want to see Nic Nemeth. He loses in AEW, it's going to be like, oh, why do we care about Dolph Ziggler?
Right.
This is why this guy got released. This is why he got released. Oh, this is what they do with the. Oh, look, AEW picking up washed up WWE guys. That's what it's going to feel like.
Video game Tony, or action figure Tony.
Action figure Tony.
It's toys to play with.
No, but once again, another excellent point, brother. You want to finish up with anything before we move on to the next segment?
Y'all already know how I feel about him. I talk about him all the time. I'm just glad he's out there doing his own thing, and he's not only putting himself on the map, he's putting these other promotions on the map.
True.
That's the one thing that I love about it. Not a lot of people pay attention, well, to AAA here in the US because we don't have too much access to it. Right. Same thing with New Japan. But now that he's bringing a spotlight to those companies, to those brands, and it's a great thing, man. Like, it's just great. Wrestling is worldwide now. It's not just WWE or AEW, US. That's it. No, it's worldwide now. It's a worldwide thing, and he's bringing extra exposure to these other brands, and I'm loving it. So
that's I couldn't have said it better myself. Definitely a global approach. And you know what's most important about that? He won that championship and wearing the white boots, baby. So once again, if you don't know, brother, he was single-handedly responsible because he wasn't going to wear the white boots, and then brother Hugh had to pull him aside, and brother Hugh was not deterred when he acted like he ain't really paying him any mind, signed his autograph and kept moving, and then he had to stop for a second, and brother Hugh had to break it down for him and say, wait a minute, listen, white strap, white boots, I mean, does that not make sense? And he stopped and he said, you might have a point there, and guess what? We could his next trip to Japan, he had white boots, and he wore them same white boots in Mexico.
Won the title.
So
y'all see who's in the comment? The belt thief. He's in the comments.
Oh yeah, I put it up there. I put up this what's up to everybody. Shout out to you, Marcus.
Yeah, that's probably Marcus. That's probably Marcus. There,
I'm assuming it is
belt thief. Should have said this in the wrong address. But it's okay. He got a belt. He got the belt coming. It's all right.
Guess what?
What's that?
Go to Twitter and click the Wrestling Wrealm profile.
And then what?
See, let me know what you see.
I can't.
You gotta do it from.
Oh, it's a year. It's a year. It's a happy birthday.
Yeah.
That's what earlier. I mean, not a year, but it was like it's your birthday.
Years.
Yeah, it was like, it's your birthday.
This is the birthday of when we got a Twitter account.
Yeah.
All right. Let's celebrate in true wrestling Realm fashion. Everybody, here we go.
Oh God.
Oh
my goodness.
Gotta love it.
I wasn't ready.
That's
Yeah.
that picture.
He left it in the queue. He dropped it on us last night when he was talking about Shawn Michaels Playgirl shoots. Long story. Go back and watch the episode.
Yes, please go back and watch Big O versus the World just to see Mike and Marcus's reaction. It was priceless. Please go back just to see that reaction.
You gotta clip that off of social, brother. Here.
Yep. Yes,
He wasn't ready.
that's right.
They were not ready.
This is such a beautiful moment.
Hashtag the hashtag the duties of being a super producer.
Oh, king of the tips.
And we got the king of Baltimore because you dubbed Hollywood as the king of Baltimore.
King. Listen, speaking of kings, we had a WWE Draft, and this is our good for business, bad for business segment this week. And you asked me, well, why is this in particular good for business, bad for business? Because each week we do a segment, literally, where we discuss something that happened, and we discuss, is this good for business or bad for business? And I want to know what you brothers think, because I purposely didn't bring it up. I got mixed reviews about the draft. I know Shark hit me up on the Facebook chat, and he had a lot to say. I don't want to say he was thoroughly disappointed, but it was not what he expected. And I said, you know what? He has his points, and I understand it. And I'm curious to see what everybody else had to say. And I left it alone for the moment, but I noticed that there were a few other comments about the situation. Now, last week we had a preview show, and we gave our draft predictions, and we had some ideas of where some of the WWE superstars should go, what branch they head to next, and do their best work. And today we're going to discuss the results of that particular draft. Now, I want to know first and foremost what everybody thinks of, first of all, overall the draft, and were they surprised? Were they happy? Were they disappointed? What do you think? We'll start with you, brother Brandon. This year's 2024 WWE Draft, was it worth it? Did you enjoy it? Was it what you expected, or did the results tickle your fancy?
So I'm gonna say this about the draft, and I'm gonna take a different approach, because every time we've had the Triple H dust, we've been all excited, right? Mm-hmm. But when the dust hits us and we're mad, we usually gotta wait to see, and then we're like, oh, it makes sense. It's always, in Triple H we trust. My first initial thing about this draft was, why didn't we have NXT as person to be drafted? But then on NXT Spring Breaking, we find out, oh, these people are down on NXT. We should have just made them a part of it, because I think that would have brought more eyes to NXT. It would have helped establish them as the third brand, because truth be told, the developmental brand is Level Up. Like, that's what all of the guys. I
have a quick question for you, brother Brandon. What makes you so convinced that NXT is not the third brand? Like, they have a spot on USA, they have their own TV deal, but you talk about NXT as if like they haven't already established it as a third brand. Like, now, don't get me wrong, it doubles, because they're like, listen, it is a third brand, but it's not solely a third brand, because that's kind of what we did with WWE CW, right? Mm-hmm. Where it was a third brand, but they told you it was a third brand, so we took it out of context, and it turned out to be eventually Vince gave Paul Heyman them a shot, and he was like, this isn't working, let's just start trying to introduce new talent to ECW, and it became like in fact two. But I know we were upset about it. I know I was, because we were like, wait a minute, you said this is supposed to be ECW, and now Vince, you're just turning this into a chance to. Now, don't get me wrong, we got to introduce to Kofi Kingston, we got to have Christian come back, we got to introduce to Jack Swagger, Sheamus. The Major Brothers. We had all these new, and it was cool long term, but the diehards like, this isn't what ECW is. You turn this into something else, and then eventually it turned into the first version of NXT. So why are you so convinced that they haven't established it as a third brand, but also like, listen, it's still developmental? What's your take on that? I'm curious, because you always say like they could have done this to make it a third, but I'm like, well, what makes you think, like, what have they done or not done to make you say this isn't the third brand?
So when you have you still have 2 separate pay-per-views for them. You have the WWE pay-per-views and the NXT ones. That's one. If we're going to do that, go back to Raw, SmackDown, and NXT pay-per-views. So that way you can spread it out each month that we have one, or whatever you want to do, right? But because we don't have equal playing field of the titles, that's what makes me feel like it's still not a third parent. Because we don't have a quote-unquote superstar. Like, if Bianca Belair goes from Raw to SmackDown, oh, wow, Bianca Belair is on Raw SmackDown, right? But when she goes to NXT, it's a major deal. It's like, oh, my God, Bianca Belair is on NXT. She's returning home. Where she start, they make it seem like it's a...
Because it's still developmental.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. It hasn't been... Because technically, Level Up is their developmental now. NXT is actually just a third brand, but they're not giving it its just due. Because when you think about it, the stars that come out of it are similar to what we have when people find their footing on Raw or SmackDown. Let's call it what it is. Like we've always said, certain people fit better on Raw, certain people fit better on SmackDown. AJ Styles belongs on SmackDown. That's his show. That's where he found his footing.
Fits.
That's where that's where he just fits. So when it comes to NXT, like, could we see Braun Breaker without NXT? No, because that's what we figured out. He found his fitting. Now we got to see, didn't really do much in SmackDown. We got to see if he's going to find his fitting on Raw. But Meacham, like we said in the draft, should go back to NXT because not only unfinished business, but this is where she can find a footing. And this is where I feel her career will launch into the superstar spectrum that she deserves. I hope that makes sense.
No,
it
no,
always feels like, especially because remember the Survivor Series, the first time we had Raw, SmackDown, NXT.
Sure.
And then next year it was just like, oh, never mind, that didn't count. And even in this graphic, you see the gold under it represents NXT. So I thought it would be Ava. Is that how you say that? Ava or Ava? Ava. She would have been with the 2 general managers.
And she just goes by Ava now, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you see what I mean? I would have loved to see her with them, and then even like a William Regal appearance, a Shawn Michael appearance, because they had everybody from Raw and SmackDown, past, present, all popping up. Why not keep them in the loop? The only time you saw Shawn Michaels was to give them a hat. You know what I mean? You could have had a 3-day draft day, start on Friday, go to Monday, finish on Tuesday. A big deal that you're finishing on Tuesday, and that's when you say, that's when we're going to draft all the people to NXT. Bring more eyes to it. Because what was the harm in doing that if you're going to put Meacham on the show? If you're going to put... Are the Good Brothers technically there now? No, because they got drafted to SmackDown.
No, they got drafted to SmackDown. They're
just
working.
There.
They're working. Working with tongue. Interesting take. It's an interesting take. So let me go to Brian H. Brian H. Mm-hmm. What did you think of the draft? And we're still going to ask everybody, is this good for business or bad for business? And I still want to know why, that too. But we're just getting everybody's overall, just summary of what they felt about the draft. What about you, Brian? I saw a lot of the notables that you mentioned go to their respective places. As Brandon said, Mia Yim was one of them. Did she go by Meacham in NXT, or that's...
No, she was Mia Yim.
She was Mia Yim.
She came back as Meacham because she said that was her nickname.
No, but I'm saying, like, I'm talking about when she showed up at Spring Breaking. Did she call herself Meacham? Did they say, "Oh, Meacham show," or did they say Mia Yim? I don't remember.
I think
okay, so she's okay. All right, fair enough. So, Brian, what did you think overall as far as just the overall draft? It was a different field this year, but what's your synopsis? Like I said, I saw some of your picks and some of your notables. I saw them pop up in some of these eras. And she was one of the ones that stood out because I was like, I remember that was one you were like, hey, she should probably, and here's why.
I mean, I'll just simplify it to say basically this. Great presentation. It felt real. It felt like, with the NFL draft being on, it felt like that, especially having the people in the office and stuff.
Yeah, the war rooms.
Yeah, the war rooms.
Yeah.
But when you're putting everybody kind of on the same show, because we know, okay, certain stories got to continue or really going to start cooking. I think it's just something simple. It's just going back to the name Superstar Shakeup. I understand the branding of it all. Sure. But even if you say trade weekend or free agency wire,
not to mention it was the NFL draft was going on at also, that previous weekend, there was a lot of that going on as well.
Yeah, so I mean, SmackDown was going head to head with day 2 of the NFL draft.
Yes,
so I just think it's that simple. Just change the name.
All right, and I'll address that in a second. I'm gonna give Brother Hughes 2 cents on it because
and
that was.
You go. This is something. Did y'all realize this is the first time Triple H kind of broke his own continuity, where the general managers did all this work to sign these people, and some of them are now on other shows. Oh, I'm signing Braun Breaker to this contract. Now he's on Raw. Oh, I'm signing this person. Now they're on this. I was like, that kind of defuncts your storytelling that you do. But sorry.
No,
it does, but I love the competition there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. It's your turn. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the competition between the two GMs. Like we kind of had it before, but it only happened when Survivor Series came around. So it's like now it's a year-long thing.
They called it.
Yeah, bragging rights. Yeah. So like it's a year-long thing, and it makes
and you have 2 former wrestlers, so it makes sense.
Absolutely. So now the brands like they stay relevant at all times throughout the year. Yeah. But overall, as far as like the draft and completion, like NXT, I don't think at first I thought they should have been a part of the picking process or the selection process, but it kind of makes sense that they weren't because like what's the best way? Who exactly would they pick? You know what I'm saying? Like, say if they were the 3rd pick, or they had the 3rd pick in the whole draft, who would you really expect them to pick?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because on the draft board, you have everybody out there. You had Bianca go first. You had Jay go first. Then what if NXT selected somebody like Drew McIntyre?
Right.
Like it just wouldn't have made sense. You see what I'm saying? Okay. So it was good that NXT wasn't a part of the selection process, and they did it the way that they did it. So now you can handpick and put certain talents that need to be on TV, that need to be rejuvenated down. Well, I hate to say down because I kind of see them as an equal playing field right now. But you put them on NXT, let them get their shine, let them rebuild themselves, and then if you want to bring them back up to the main roster, main roster, go ahead and do it.
But to your point, what if NXT would have picked their current stars? What if they would have picked a Tony D'Angelo on Raw, SmackDown for NXT? Now the audience is like, "Who's this Tony D'Angelo? He's in the draft. He must be somebody. Let me go see what's going on." Because they were giving you stats of people.
That makes sense.
That's not always true though, because think about it. And I'm giving you an example. Don't get me wrong. It's not that it's not possible, but think about it. What happened to Odyssey Jones last year?
Oh, he got drafted twice.
He got drafted. He got drafted to Raw. Did anybody go back and say, "Let me see what Odyssey Jones is about"? I did for the moment, but I'm also a wrestling fan. Raw's not always about, those mainstream shows aren't always about. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying? The opposite. Yeah. Like if I saw a Fallon Henry get drafted as the #1 draft pick, let me just use that for example.
Sure.
I'm going to be curious to say, dang, she's the #1 draft pick. Let me go see why. Let me go watch some of her. Let me go figure out what's going on. You get what I'm saying? Because it's a name.
Did you go see Odyssey Jones?
I don't think a lot of people do that.
Now?
No, because I was like, didn't he just start? I was like, he just started. What was?
Yeah, he kind of just he didn't have much to go look at. You're right.
Yeah, I was like, what? What? And then for a whole year, I'm like, oh, I guess we just. I actually thought he got released.
When I remember when I saw him, I said that's why they got rid of Keith Lee. I said because he's because remember it was around the same time when Keith Lee had finally to the main roster, and it's not his fault. He was doing Vince era, but they were trying to they revamped him like 5 or 6 times, and he couldn't. His personality was not connecting, and that whole Keith Lee shtick and gimmick that he was doing wasn't connecting with the audience. And I was like, oh, he's bombing right now.
He came back as Bearcat Wrealm.
Yeah, he came as Bearcat. Bearcat is like a historical black wrestling name. It has a lot of lineage. I think there's been a couple of Bearcats in history, and there's a handful of there's 1 or 2 in the WWE Hall of Fame, and then of course you got like Big Cat Ernie Ladd. So that's a.
But we got to go Google that. A common person wouldn't know that.
Yeah, and that's why why it didn't make any sense because he came out dressed with a skirt on in Spartacus, and it was like, yo, what are we doing here? So once again, not his fault. But he got caught up in that Vince era because they didn't just let him be just limitless. But then you saw Odyssey Jones, and I'm like, this dude moves around. He's bigger, super heavyweight guy, but he had a personality. And I was like, that's why they cut Keith Lee. I said they look like Vince goes, oh, I got one of those already. He's in developmental.
Either.
He's cheap, and I get to turn him into whatever I want to turn him into versus what people are used to you being.
God dang it.
I'm just saying, because
I didn't think about it. That's why he got drafted.
Yeah, like
because he did it for years with the women. Oh, I got a blonde hair one. She can go. I got another one. Oh, I got this one.
Vince used to change people's characters. He NXT was cool, but you get to that main roster and he was changing characters.
Oh, No Way Jose became the new Adam Rose.
Yeah, No Way Jose, and even Karrion Kross, he did the same thing. He was doing the same thing with recently with who was it that it was like, why would you Gunta? We remember that debacle. We were like, yo, what is he doing? But that those were all his calls. So I see both sides of it all, but it's like I think that there's a line that they purposely blur, and I could be wrong. This is just my guessing is that we don't know the line of third brand and developmental. It's because on one hand they'll tell you these are our new talent, this is our developmental, and then on the other hand they're like, but this is big enough, it's still considered a third brand. They won't say it,
but they'll say things arenas.
Like we're selling out spots. We got our own TV deals, and I'm like, well, you're talking about it like it's a third brand, but then you're like, oh no, we're not gonna. They're very calculated about what they do. Into Brother Hughes' point,
advertising it like it's
and it's in what you look at the logo, you see it's majority red, majority blue, but then you see like teases of gold. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's not even fully, but it's like,
because you know what I mean? Class, they not ready. They're not ready to be in front of 20,000 people or 10,000 people every week. I mean, you got some sprinkle in there, but this ain't 2014 or 2013. This ain't Kevin Owens, Adam Cole, that class,
And even that, even that era, nobody knew who the heck those they were.
That is true.
Because they all had the little NXT track jackets on like this one, and they were all sitting down there. Brandon's boy Sammy Callahan and all them the
Wow.
And they was all down there like supporting each other. They were similar like that. And they were, I think when Jones got drafted. They was all just kind of like
we now in the majority are NILs. You look at Trick, Soul Ruka, Jada Parker, all of them. This is the NIL era, even
they signed before and they kind of transitioned.
Yeah, I was just looking at.
But they're getting it faster now. They're actually getting it faster.
Well, yeah, because they hungry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, caliber of athletes. Yeah,
they athletes. They come in there like look at it like somebody like I was looking at the 2022 class on YouTube where they revealed the class.
Mm-hmm.
What's the name? Kalani Jordan's in that class. You know what I mean? And it's like you look at they put them all together. It's like, all right, look, this is what you want to do, and these are people like, all right, well, I maximize what I could go in football or track or gymnastics. Now I'm gonna take it to this wrestling. And thank you, Bianca Belair. Thank you, Big E. They were like the prototypes.
Yeah, and back in the day, I don't say back in the day because back in the day is our stuff now. But wrestling of yesteryear, people always talk about. Not everybody that got signed to wrestling were like wrestlers. Guys were independents, you know what I mean? Like the Road Warriors were bouncers, they were football players.
Bro,
you know what I mean?
was just watching Dark Side
Batista
of the Ring.
was a bouncer, right?
Like
Batista was a bouncer DC that they picked up.
People go, oh wow, you look pretty jacked. You know what I mean? Scott Hall was a bouncer. You know what I mean? Kevin Nash, former basketball player. So it's like we're seeing remnants.
All time, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
same thing.
Kurt Angle.
Yep,
Kurt Angle. I didn't grow up watching this stuff. You know what I mean?
So that made the episode too.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, when he Sandman Raiden, and they talked to Sandman's kid. Like, well, he's a grown up now.
Sure.
Raven put him over. He was like, man, he said he was a worker. He knew.
Yeah, no, that was. Yeah, see, don't try to coerce me to watching Dark Side. I'm not doing it.
But you know what? Because this episode is something you enjoy because this was like when I was watching, I was like, yeah, this is when Dwayne was trying to get me to go back down that ECW rabbit hole because it's not really dark. I mean, he has like dark stuff.
It isn't. It's just like almost like tragic, I guess.
But with him, because he's still. It was like the drugs and stuff, but I mean, you got to remember, like this. A couple weeks ago was Gentleman Chris Adams, right?
Mhm.
So you got episodes like that.
Compared to that one.
Right. You know, I didn't
Sure.
seen the Von Erich episode probably 10, 15 times, you know. So you got the comic ones, then you got the ones that's like, ooh, I didn't know about that. And then like a comic one is it's funny, I was talking to my godbrother, shout out to him, his birthday was today.
Happy birthday, Michael.
Yeah, talking about the Brawl for All episode.
Okay, yeah. See, that's a lighthearted one. I can deal with Brawl for All.
That was a shoot, you know. So, but yeah, I think you enjoy the Sandman. But guess what? Next week, Black Saturday.
Gotcha.
So I'm waiting for that one because I know not enough documentaries on Black Saturday.
Okay, I think that's true. I might watch that one, and I'll probably go back and watch the Sandman because I think Sandman just sounded like a Legends deal with WWE because he's getting action figures. So that's that's why I keep tabs on these type of things. But right. Yeah. So down the line, first of all excellent points. This is why God dang it, we're good. I mean, I'm not one to pat myself on the back, man, but sheesh.
I mean, of course, last night proved that, big goal, overrated.
Yeah. Let's see. There you go. It's being heel.
The lineage, not the belt. The lineage. I ain't gonna say overrated. That's too
Hollywood.
Yeah, that was a bit much.
That's it.
That was a Hollywood moment.
I get it though.
Serena Deeb versus Tony Storm. Okay.
Are you see? There you go. Nope, I'm not doing it. AEW's trying to figure it out. Good for business, bad for business. Down the line, Brian H. Was the draft good for business or bad for business?
Yeah, it's bad for business because they should have drafted Mercedes Moné and saved her. But no, the draft,
the check didn't clear.
Right.
Tony's money's pretty long.
There's a bunch of money. Remember that. He said it.
I can't say it's bad for business.
Okay.
Because it definitely brought some eyeballs to the product. So that alone, the execution may be bad for business, but the idea and the presentation was good for business.
Okay, fair enough. Brother Brandon, good for business, bad for business. This year's WWE Draft 2024.
It's good for business because you got people talking about it.
Okay.
And that's why I'm saying it's good for business. And it was a draft, and we were so conditioned to Vince McMahon drafts. When you go back and look at some of those drafts, it literally took everybody from Raw and put them on SmackDown. Everybody from SmackDown put them on Raw. So now he said, no, we're going to draft the people we want to keep, and we're going to sprinkle some things in there. So we're down on Raw. You're going to see Illinois fight everybody. On SmackDown, you're going to see Shinsuke fight everybody. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm trying to see where we're going to go with this. But they got the world talking, good or bad or indifferent. Everybody's talking about it. And all the YouTube shows like White Culture, all of them was talking about the same thing. He got us buzzing for a reason. And it's a reason that certain people were not drafted and certain reasons. I think it'll all be revealed soon.
Free agency. Yeah. You're absolutely right. I'm curious to see how Triple H handles this part of it all. You know what I mean? It was crazy because some people, like you said, shoot superstar shakedown or something. Like, why don't you just have trades? Because majority of the heavy hitters stay. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy about it. It's because I've not liked shakeups back in the day. So I'm glad that AJ's on SmackDown. I'm glad that CM Punk and Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre are all on Raw. Things about to get explosive. But so on and so forth. Brother Hugh, good for business, bad for business. That's a nice shirt you have on, by the way. I noticed that earlier. I meant to say something. Derailed. It's a nice shirt. I wonder where you can get such a thing like that. It's nice.
I've been wondering.
Check out TRDA brand on Instagram. Check that out.
Is that where you found it?
I've heard of that. I've heard of that before.
Is it a website I can go to? Because I'm old school. I might want to go to a website. You know the website?
All the info is right there at TRDA brand on Instagram. Check it out.
No, I want to go to the website. What is the website?
But
tell me
it has the link on the website there.
I don't
so
want.
You go to IG. You go to IG. You like it. You follow.
I have the IG.
You all that stuff.
I got to create IG.
So you just trying to be smart today? Okay.
I don't know.
You done? You good?
No, I want to make sure you don't wind up.
He said
you want some water.
Because you're about to turn black and blue because you're wearing black and white right now. But you keep on.
Oh jeez.
Right. Yeah, I know you've heard it in a chair shot, right? Okay.
Yeah, I keep seeing a steel chair keep popping up on the screen, so I don't know what that's about. But
so you finished now? Okay, we get it. All right. So what I was going to say is
Yes, sir.
Honestly, I feel like we gotta wait to see if it's really good for business or bad for business.
That's also a good point, though. Yeah.
I mean, Brian stressed that for presentation purposes and just for marketing purposes and bringing eyes to the product, yes, it
There
was
you
good
go.
for business.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as far as just the wrestling portion of it and the storyline portion of it, you kind of have to wait. Give it a
Yeah.
couple of weeks and then see what plays out.
Can we make one
But
more point though? Oh, sorry, I thought you were supposed to
no,
go.
no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
They reprogrammed the audience in a big way simply by making Bianca Belair the #1 overall pick
I thought that was very clever.
and Jade the #1 overall pick for
Mhm.
SmackDown on Monday night. That was like a
See
stamp of approval. Like we are in a different regime. We're in a different world.
That was tough. Come on now,
See
two
that?
black women, the two, and it's like
Like
they
Girl
didn't have to
Magic.
be, they didn't have to beef or break up or like get real ghetto about it. It was like, no, we were fighting for both of them. Like if you got one, I got to get the other, and it helps. It really helps put Jade over because it's saying we're looking at her still.
Yeah.
Like we know she can't lace up, Bianca's boots right now. But we also know like they're doing a very good job of protecting her brand because they're still treating her like a big deal. See, Vince in AEW, they would have brought you in, you'd have had your moment, but then eventually there would have been no follow-up because you really can't. Like it's not your fault. It's just like everybody can't beat Kurt Angle. But it's like they're very careful about her. And it's like, when's the last time you see somebody that's relatively new to the industry or the business itself and they just come in? Like that's some Ultimate Warrior type stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you coming in like, oh, you're just kind of getting started, and we're not going to say, well, we got to put you aside until you earn this space or get to that. It's like, no, we're going to treat you like a big deal. And we're going to make sure that we benefit more from you being a big deal. So we don't have to force you into this space, and say, okay, well, you got to do this, you got to do that. You got to get the fans. They're like, nah, you're already a big deal. We're treating you that way. So shout out to black women all over the place. And especially Jade Cargill. And she was just on NXT Spring Breaking, something going on. Yeah. But what you about to say, Brian Edge? Because you about to allude to something.
No, I was just saying Last Legend. I think that's great because when you think about, I always said Jade Cargill was in AEW was what if Last Legend, if they would have got Last Legend, it would have been the same thing, right? Sure. If Jade would have stayed in WWE when she first had the Performance Center, she would have been what Last Legend is. But you talk about somebody who hit the reset button on and sent the level up probably, and now she's a primetime player. And we most people know her and Trick together, but to get to see them like kind of like start to really work this into something, it's cool because both of them, you're getting a lot of personality out of both of them. He's learning as being tasked with such a huge responsibility. And
got to create a brand now.
Yeah.
And you know what? Let's just jump right into it. Mouthing off with Mike Wrestling Podcast, as you can tell they tried to make us close to a real sports draft, and that's exactly what they did. It was a lot of bluffing because I'm like, wait a minute, they kept everybody on the same show, but as far as like Brian H and brother, you said, as far as presentation was concerned. He definitely made it look like it was very competitive. They were fighting over superstars, and it was a big deal when each person showed up on each show. And like brother, he once again, to your credit, like you said, we got to wait and see because now each general manager is going to be responsible for their level of talent. And if creatively they need to change something, they may say, well, look, this person has fought to get out of the contract. I'm coming over, because we've seen it already with Nick Aldis showing up on Raw and, Adam Pearce showing up on SmackDown. Like, yeah, by the way, when like Brandon said, when they were fighting over Braun Breaker at first, they both like, look, I got a contract. I'm sure this is going to meet his, needs. And it's like, there's much and more.
I'm glad he on Raw.
I think he'll fit more on Raw. It's a 3-hour show. He'll come out there and do squash matches until he kind of finds his fitting. But
I feel like it makes sense to me because I feel like the world title picture is kind of open still. No disrespect to Damian Priest, but
you said it's kind of open.
It's kind of open compared to being like on SmackDown with Cody Rhodes. Cody's going to keep it for a while. It's kind of a given.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, okay. I get what you said. There's a level of excitement for a new superstar to be over there because that's now you like he might be up next. We don't know it yet.
Yeah, so you got your Bronze, you got your Gunther over there, you have Dragunov over there. So it's like you
Oh,
have
they got good
options.
hitters over there.
Exactly.
They
You have
putting all the
You
fresh
options.
got
talent on
Dijak too.
Raw.
You got
Dijak just
Yeah,
got,
Dijak.
so
Dijak,
they're
yep.
getting big dudes.
So
Raw
you
might
got
be the
you,
might be the show with all the young talent on it, like the
yes,
next
sir.
crop of guys, and not to mention is yeah, oh yeah, I'm not even correct. That's a different show. But that good point, brother. Hugh. I'm gonna leave it at that. That was really a great observation. But we're gonna wrap up talking about we gotta skip a segment. We'll get into that next week or the week after that because we got time. But for time purposes, but we're gonna finish up the tonight show with talking about WWE's Backlash. Let you know it was a successful Backlash in Puerto Rico last year. It was a big deal. We're seeing that the WWE is taking the, I don't want to call them B-level pay, I call them the in your house pay-per-views out of the country. You know, they're sure, we appreciate them here, but globally they just anytime WWE comes to town,
They eat it up.
first of all, they're not just coming for wrestling shows. They're going there to establish the wrestling flag, waving the WWE flag high. They're shattering records for attendance in these venues. They're selling out merchandises because a lot of times you get to bring things to spaces where people don't get it on a regular basis, and they get and there's a level of appreciation for it. We saw that in Puerto Rico.
Them in Italy, you see the big three.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like we Italians and anyways, it was a beautiful sight, and it's like
Black Girl Magic.
Man, what? And and as a fan, it's much more fun to watch because I enjoy Backlash that much, watching that live audience respond to what what kind of happened in Backlash. You had Bad Bunny, you had Damian Priest, you had Carly, you had a lot going on. So we're talking about this year's Backlash, right? We just talked about Bianca Belair. We just talked about Jade Cargill. Is Triple H cheating?
Yes.
It's because he drafted both of these two young ladies, but guess what? If they win these tag titles, they're going to be on both shows any goddamn way.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
No, they're going to be on more than both shows. They're going to be everywhere. They are literally going to be. Imagine, and I said this to you earlier. Imagine Jade Cargill showing up to a Comic-Con cosplaying as Storm with the belt. It writes itself. Imagine Bianca Belair at a car show, talking about she's at a WWE booth and has the belt there. They're going to be everywhere.
Yep, you got the NBA Finals coming up too.
They're going to be sitting courtside with the belts.
Looking fly as
looking
ever,
like $1 million bucks. Looking like $1 million bucks.
Absolutely.
And the casual fans going to say, that's what WWE, they make them like that? Oh, we got to start watching that. And you can catch them on Monday or Friday. Well, technically Monday, Tuesday, or Friday.
This would be the first time those tag titles will be making those type of appearances since Becky Lynch and Lita held them.
Yeah.
They're going to be
no offense to Damage
baseball
Control,
game.
but they about to cook.
Yeah, they don't trust me. Damage Control get it back when it's time for them to go to the land of a rising sun.
What's the next pay-per-view after Backlash?
It's in June, right? No,
Queen and King.
It's the end of May, right?
King and Queen of the Ring.
Oh, so they can't be on the marquee. I was gonna say I see them too when they get the titles being the marquee for one of these pay-per-views. Like they being the thing on the, you know how they have everybody, like right now it's Cody holding the belt. You can see them being the cover for that title. I mean for that PLE.
Maybe so. But we have a few matches, and quick, I don't want to waste this real quick, but quick shout out to Wesley. Wesley returned on NXT this week.
You guys remember that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He looked
sir.
like he got a smile back. Him and Obafemi.
He had a more like he was supposed to be out for a year, 8 months to a year. Came back
in
like
6 months.
5 or 6 months. He came back.
I'm not surprised.
He about to make Obafemi look like a megastar.
I don't think he realized how popular of a star he was because he came back. He was trying to be serious, but then he started smiling once he kind of like walked down. Like,
oh yeah,
and of course
that's why they let Ilinoff go because they got him back. They said, okay, Ilinoff and Carmelo and Braun, we got Wesley come back. We're good. We okay. We'll build 2 more, but we got Wesley.
Once you've done your job, it's time to do the next move. You know what I mean? And now it's like, okay, let's move on. That's what developmental is supposed to be for. Like, all right, cool. Like you established, they know who you are. Let's let you cook now because we got this guy coming back, so on and so forth. But I didn't want to waste the graphic because brother, you spend time doing it. But shout out to Wesley making his return to NXT. NXT is cooking, man. It's crazy, but
one of the best North American champions ever.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well,
one of the best North American champions.
Well, we're getting a backlash. So we have a few matches. Like I said, we have this match right here with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill versus the Kabuki Warriors, as well as we got this impromptu bloodline match, right? We got RKO. I don't like I get it. That's a combined tag team. Randy Orton and Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline, the MFT. And Brandon said it was called. Were you the one that says it stands for My Family Tree?
I didn't say that.
It wasn't you?
Somebody's
like, what the
no, I said
My
it.
Family
I said
Tree.
that's
That
what the
was
internet
Brother
says.
Brandon.
Yeah, they said that's what the internet said. It stands for. I didn't want to say that, my mother, but I said it's My Family Tree. Is
If that's what that stands for, that's crazy because they definitely put it in parentheses. Like they point out the fact that it says MFT on it.
Right.
But we also have obviously this is the main event of the show. We have main event Jey Uso and Damian Priest. We also have
now this is a Honor Hawaii pay-per-view, low key.
Rikishi might be in France with the
you
rest
just
of the kids.
dropped all three of his kids back to back to back.
Bloodline's still running the show. We have Tiffany Stratton and Bayley versus Naomi, triple threat match for the women's WWE Championship.
Give her back her old music.
Oops, I up double. And then of course we have the main event. Am I missing a match?
That one.
No, that's all that's announced.
No, okay, so this is the extra one. Okay.
Yeah, there's no tag matches announced for this.
And then we have this match. This is I'm giddy. We have Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles in his first major title defense. Yeah. Before we get into the main event, we'll finish on this because we're just about ready to wrap up. Is there anything about WWE Backlash in France live this Saturday, May 4th at 1 p.m. Eastern time here in the United States, streaming exclusively on Peacock or in the WWE Network? Is there anything in particular about this pay-per-view, in particular, that you guys are looking forward to? It's one of those in-betweens, but it's a pretty solid card. It looks like it's going to forward some things, get some things moving forward. But any particular matches that stands out, anything you want to see, anything you're expecting in comparison to last year's Backlash in Puerto Rico?
I'm gonna start.
And now we're in France. You said what?
I'm gonna start off with this. I'm looking forward to the fact that it's 1 p.m. Eastern time.
Look at that though. Nice Saturday afternoon wrestling, right?
Like a little brunch, Shoot, I'm gonna be on vacation, so I'm gonna watch this from the pool or something.
Oh yeah. You can do it in luxury.
What? Oh, luxury.
Do it in luxury.
I thought he said something else. Hey, okay.
You thought he said lingerie?
I thought he said
lingerie.
You guys gotta get your minds out of the gutter.
I heard him say luxury. Lingerie.
But I mean, I'm really, really, really looking forward to the women's tag team title match. Okay, but I mean, to be honest with you, I'm looking forward to all of them because this has a new feel. Like usually, like Backlash used to be kind of like a fallout to WrestleMania, kind of like a little replay.
Used to do WrestleMania Backlash,
Yeah,
post COVID.
Yeah, But like even growing up, like the first Backlash I really remember, Rock versus running back, Rock and Austin, So this one is like a reset, and it's like, okay, now it's the new season. And I mean, shoot, if you gave me a book and said pick a unlikely winner like that you could book, it would be Jey Uso winning the title.
Now, why is that? Do tell.
Because as much as I respect Damian Priest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's times where I want to see the belt play hot potato. And this is one of those times. Like, I would love to see like Jey Uso just to see what it was like. He'd get that moment. All of a sudden, the end afterwards, you got Solo coming out there looking at him. You got Tama looking at him like, oh, okay, that's nice. Walk away, leave him alone. But then Jey Uso got the whole crowd doing the yeet and stuff.
In France.
Yeah.
Because yeet in French.
Yeah, this is his third opportunity.
Yeet.
He got new tattoos. They just did a whole thing. I didn't realize
Umaga tats.
Yeah, he got them joints right before SummerSlam. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I'm team no. I don't have any tattoos, but from what I've always heard, they hurt. So everybody
I don't do needles.
Certain parts of your body, they hurt.
Yeah, the fact that he was out there running the ropes to getting his back tatted, and it's like, wow, bro, But I would, I would love to see him win the title. I think this would be probably the first time I root for Jey Uso and
Since he was part of the bloodline.
Yeah, probably so.
Terrible.
Even though I shouldn't, because he sided with the wrong side. How dare he? But I like to see
he's in the main event of Backlash, so maybe he didn't side with the wrong side.
This seems kind of predictable, bro.
Talk about it.
The whole pay-per-view, PLE, it seems kind of predictable to me, because I don't think they're gonna do Bayley wrong. Let's talk about, she just won the title, she had a big moment. Honestly, in my opinion, I don't think Tiffany really needs the belt as of right now. I kind of see her as like she's technically that top heel, maybe the queen of the ring. We can talk about that at another time. Maybe the queen of the ring to keep her relevant. Naomi is one of those top players that you can always throw in there to kind of
drag and drop.
Yeah. So I kind of see Bayley keeping the belt. I see Damian Priest. I don't see them doing him wrong, as far as like he's just getting started. He really hasn't done anything yet.
What's a big deal about him being the second Puerto Rican?
Right. Absolutely. And I get what you say about Jey Uso, and I would love to see him with the title, but I just don't see it right now because they made that move.
But now here's the thing. I don't either, but just fantasy booking, I'm looking at it from I want to look, I've been playing a lot of WWE 2K lately, so I've been doing off the wall type stuff, like, because at the end of the day, it's fun, it's entertaining. But just imagine like what did he got in their faces and told them stay out of his way. Judgment Day, Damian Priest, he pronouns pal. Imagine they cost him the title.
Pronouns pal.
Imagine they cost him the title. I mean, a lot of times I look at this. We gotta give ourselves this license that, and maybe we'll develop a name for it at Wrealm University. We have been watching wrestling for so long that some of the best and most complex cards are going to be easy for us to predict more than the average person. You know what I mean? It's just because we've been watching this so long, we've been consuming it to the masses. Does Backlash look predictable? I think the only match you could probably like do the betting odds. The only one that might be a 50, the closest to a 50-50 is the Bloodline versus KO and Randy, because anytime Randy Orton's in a match, it's always a possibility he gets a win.
I feel like straight up KO and Randy's going to win that. And what's going to happen is somehow, some way, Solo and Tama, they're going to end up brutalizing them after the match or something like that.
Getting their hit back.
Yeah, that's like it's predictable to me. Just being honest. I mean, because look,
no need for the
bloodline. They've had their way for how long now? For 2-3 weeks now. Yeah, so it's like
they definitely
it's time. It's time for KO and Randy Orton to give Solo another one of them L's, man. You know what I'm saying? So
he does a lot of losing.
How about Thomas Hunger already on a PLE?
I know, right? I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Well, is this when Jacob pop up?
I think
that's what you say that for US. That was my point.
I'm not. Brian, he's biting his tongue on that one.
I'm not predicting Jacob for nothing.
I think it leads to something that associates with him, because that's what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? To your point, brother, I'm looking at that situation. I'm like, okay. Once again, this is a learning tree match. We didn't now. Like I said, we're going into the Wrealm University. We've been around this block 1,000 times. Tama Tonga, Solo Sikoa are working with legends right now. Like, they're gonna like, dude, let's you need this match under your belt. So you know what I mean? So this is a learning tree match. And the bloodline has been very vicious as of lately. So imagine them losing a match, right? You're saying to yourself, okay, if they lose, it's going to be for a reason. It's got to lead to something else. So it's like they lose, but we win. It's because, like I said, I everybody knows that Jacob Fatu signed with WWE, but yet there's no mention of him. Bloodline still running wild. Roman's missing, and we're not hearing it. So it's like we almost need an excuse to say, well, how do we introduce this particular character, and what purpose does he have? Because he's not just coming just to show up like Tama Tonga. So when they said he first signed with WWE, I was like, well, what is he going to do? It's because Tama Tonga doesn't have like a character. You know what I mean? He had the face paint and the long hair. He had like just kind of mystic.
He was a gorilla of destiny. That was about his character.
Yeah, like that was he carried himself a certain type of way. It was very mythical, very tribal type. Because think about it, he didn't talk at first. Before they became the Gorillas of Destiny, he wore the face paint. Before Tonga Loa got there, he didn't say much. He was just like he was a workhorse guy. He was part of the Bullet Club. He didn't cut promos, but then he took the face paint off. He started speaking. He cut his hair. He became more of a realistic, like, human being. And it was like, well, what was this thing? And you say, okay, well, now you introduce him to the bloodline. There's a reason why they introduced him. You know what I mean? There's a reason why they're saying this is my MFT and they're not telling you what it is. There's a reason why he's showing up saying this is Roman Reigns' orders, but Roman Reigns, like, you know what I mean? So it's like he got caught up in a good situation where he doesn't have to be a character or a gimmick. It's because we already, first of all, we know you're the son of Haku. We know you're Tongan. You know you're part of the dynasty. You're Island Boy. It is what it is, right? So it's like, now everybody went and Googled Tama Tonga and said, oh, yeah, he's cool. Now you look at someone like Jacob Fatu. How do you introduce him, the Samoan where first of all, he's a much more agile and athletic. He looks like he fits. He is everything Vince probably wanted Umaga to be, because he had weight problems and Umaga was on his way, but just the Samoans in their weight sometimes in wrestling, it could be conflicting. You know what I mean? You look at Matt Anoa'i, Roman's brother, and Yokozuna, and of course Umaga. Unfortunately, they all suffered similar fates.
Bro, because in Jimmy and Jay's cooking videos,
bro, remember the early YouTube days, man. They put mayonnaise on every goddamn thing. They said that's the secret to Simone was being what you call. We put mahi and mayonnaise on everything.
Food be looking good.
It does, but it comes with a price. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this, and like you said, brother, it does look kind of obvious. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's going to lead to something that's like it's going to keep us guessing. But
you gotta give France something.
They gotta give France something. Why not? And who knows? We may see something crazy. We may not see something crazy. We'll have to see. Brother Brandon, what do you think about WWE Backlash this year in France? What are you looking forward to? What do you like? What don't you like?
Well, if we which one do you want to start with? Well, let's start with that.
It's up to you.
I feel like with this match, I don't want Damian to lose because he's new, but I agree with Brian H. In my notes I had, strike while the iron is hot. WWE is doing that more recently, and they're giving us those moments again.
And now you can with the title change.
Yeah, and the thing is, this is the match where I believe, and I was telling Brother Hugh this is where we get Jimmy trying to get back in the good graces of Jay.
Okay.
Because Jay is going out there by himself. The Judgment Day is going to come. Who's to say he got a black hoodie? He's going to save him and help him win the title. What better way to start that road down the story that you're going to have Jey Uso, the world champion, Cody Rhodes, the WWE champion, and Jimmy trying to get back in the good graces with Jay, slowly but surely. You get what I'm saying? Like, we know that they can do long term.
That could be a thing. You kind of got an angle there,
and this will cause the Judgment Day to start disrupt. And remember, Rey Mysterio already throwing seeds in there with Dominic. We got all these things. JD McDonough keep getting in the way. So why can't we have a smaller program? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Until Rhea comes back, they implode, and she brings them back together to get them back to it. Because, like we've all said, a 1 hour title reign, 1 minute title reign, you're still a champion. Do I want him to lose after all of this? No. Am I okay with him being a transitional champion? Yes, because the way that Jay is being shown, that could lose luster in 6 months. Because he had the Intercontinental title shot, didn't get it. United States title, didn't get it. 3 times with Roman, didn't get it. you know, how many times is he gonna have these title shots and keep calling himself main event and not give him something to latch onto? So in that notion, I say, give it to him. You know, like give it to him.
Right.
As far as the women's match, as much as I don't want Bayley to lose, same thing to Brian H. Waters' point. What if Naomi pins Tiffany, and that's because Bayley and Naomi to have a feud? Because you know they want to wrestle each other because they're friends and they probably want to be, you know, hey, we're gonna be the top 2 women. Let's do this because we know Bianca and Jade gonna be over there doing what they got to do. Mm-hmm. We could be the 2 top ones in this division and still have those other women mix in because we got new women coming to SmackDown as well. That could be contenders, but I don't know with Bayley. We all know, I hate to say it, Cody gonna keep it. AJ not getting that belt, but AJ is gonna give us a good show. He's good for that. He's gonna give the crowd what they need. And as far as that bloodline match, I really think this is where we forgot Solo destroyed John Cena. What's gonna he already bloodied up Kevin Owens. He's got to destroy Randy. Randy is so much the face that the crowds are loving him. What better way to establish this? Oh my God, look what they've done to Randy. And Jacob Fatu showed up to not only help them win, but help destroy the 2 guys on SmackDown that could be threats to them. Because they're the first 2 to step up. So this is the better way. And then can you imagine Paul Heyman's face when he sees, oh my God, Solo called another one. Oh my God, they're coming. Why didn't you tell me your plans? You know, he was giving that look and blood on his thumb again. Because Kevin don't mind bleeding. Randy don't mind bleeding. Randy hasn't bled since when? The Brock Lesnar match, maybe? Or did he bleed with the Edge match? The greatest. I can't remember. Did he bleed with
that Brock Lesnar match? That didn't go too well.
Yeah, that was but I think that this is where we get the next chapter in the story. Because I think we keep forgetting Solo destroyed Cena. Yeah, he went on a loser streak, but in one episode, it's like, oh, this is Solo again. Okay. We're reminded. So I honestly think they destroy Randy and Kevin Owens to take them off TV for a while. Mm-hmm. And when I say destroy them, Jacob Fatu hits that, well, now, because is he really going to be able to do the moonsault? Because Tiffany Stratton is doing it, and there's going to be too many moonsaults, and Ivar doing it. It's almost like the
everybody's doing the spear.
Right. And
like 3 wrestlers on the spear.
Yeah, everybody does the spear now. So, yeah, I'm just saying because Jacob Fatu moonsault would be breathtaking, but Ivar been doing it. Yeah. And so it's like we've seen a big guy do it, but, you know, yeah, it looks like he's light on his feet when he does it, but imagine him just destroying them with him. Even if they lose the 3 count and he just start destroying them, I think they get destroyed in this match. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
I can definitely see that. I feel like it's gonna be a babyface win for sure. Because you're not in America.
Oh, France.
Yeah, you're not in America. So give France, their babyface win, and like you said, then the shenanigans happen.
And then you get to hit back on SmackDown.
He's gonna cut a promo in French. Kevin Owens is. Yep, you're right. He's gonna come out there. He's gonna cut a promo
in France,
get the crowd excited, stun him. He's gonna stun Tama Tonga, and we get the pin. No, I don't think they get pinned in this.
You think he comes out in a beret?
That's culturally insensitive. I think he'll come out as just Kevin Owens.
I would come out with a baguette and a beret.
Now, if you were Cesaro, that would make sense. Kevin Owens, they probably like, what is this fool doing?
I'm celebrating. And when in Rome, do as Rome does. Baguettes and berets. We're in France.
He's gonna come out in red and blue gear. His gear is gonna be red and blue. I know you hate his blue gear. It's gonna be red and blue.
Anything he wears is blue, I'm not a fan with. Just black and red. Keep it that way. Anything else you're looking forward to as far as Backlash this Saturday?
I'm kind of disappointed we don't have any tag team matches. Because we might miss out on not just today.
We got the ladies.
No, I mean the men's titles.
He just wants to see
we might miss R-Truth. No, we might miss R-Truth. We might miss him being able to do something.
He might have a backstage segment or something.
You know.
He's going to be one show with a baguette and a beret on his head. It's going to be R-Truth.
It definitely will.
Are you trying to go to the draft?
Right. You saw what he did in Australia, or supposedly in Australia.
Oh my God, no! When he posted,
in Austria.
When he said congratulations to Kofi for winning a WCW title almost lost it.
Oh yes,
He said that about Shane.
That
That was the best tweet that he ever said, and he tagged him in it too, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yes,
I don't know.
Swerve got that.
Why is his hair like that? Why is AJ hair so beautiful in this picture?
Because first of all, y'all disrespect AJ. AJ is a freaking hair model. Let's get that, and he's super jacked.
Apparently so.
But
his hair look better than Dolph Ziggler hair.
This is I didn't say that. I didn't say that. See, that wasn't me.
I said this. He agrees.
This match. Yeah, clearly. This match is what I'm looking forward to the most. AJ, Cody Rhodes, two of my favorites, man. Just the performance is going to be amazing. Something's up. I don't know what's up, but I did notice something. You know, the realness. I try to pay attention to things. I don't catch everything, but there's subtleties that I pay attention to. And you know, AJ's been dressing all black lately. He wears like this black. He wears all black, and his logos and his designs are in like shiny material. And I realized I was watching Spring Breaking, and I see my boys, the Good Brothers.
Oh, in all black.
Same thing,
They're
right?
wearing all black.
With the
They're
black
wearing shiny material. Wait a minute. Why are they matching AJ again all of a sudden? Because, you know, AJ kind of said, look, man, you know, AJ kind of challenged him. He's done this before. Like, man, y'all play too much, man. Like, I'm serious, and y'all want to keep playing these games. Like, so, and he's like, him and Carl Anderson got into it. You know, brothers, like, hey, man, are you down? He's like, I don't know. Are you? And he's like, all right, come on, let's get out of here, man. I know what this is about. Listen, let's get this man some space. He going to do something right now. You know, true brother fashion. But maybe, like I said, sometimes NXT is the space for those tune-ups. So I'm seeing my boys. First of all, Big LG looks real thin. He's looking real in shape. My guys are not
new tattoos. Didn't he get new tattoos?
I'm sure he did.
I was like, when did they get that?
They've also made it clear, like I said, shout out to my boys. Talking Shop is back. They've cut down on the alcohol, so they're not as they're older pretty much. So I'm like, they're looking lean. They're looking, you know, working with these young dudes. I'm like, man, they just got drafted to SmackDown. I said maybe we're seeing maybe we're about to see a little bit of OC action jump up, and I'm looking forward to seeing the OC go toe to toe with the Bloodline at some point. It's because, you know, it might be a little conflict there. Tama Tonga is one of the original Bullet Club members. I'm interested to see what happens with Finn. You know, the Judgment Day to me is on his last legs. I don't know where it goes from here. It may go somewhere, it may go nowhere. But at this point, we officially have 4 out of 5 of the original Bullet Club members in the WWE. Only one that's missing is Bad Luck Fale, who is also a Tongan. So he's also an island.
Is he?
Yes, he is.
Oh.
So there's a lot of wrinkles. There's a lot of wrinkles. There's a lot of wrinkles.
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot of wrinkles, you know, and you know, with Bullet Club Gold and AEW, and AEW taking a lot of shots at WWE, I can only imagine that the creative juices and the competitive fire that's in out of all people, Triple H, not the guy you want to go to war with. So who knows what is to come? But I do know that.
Before you close, I wanted to ask y'all a question.
Sure.
Do these releases always tie into contract negotiation? Because it always says like we get a slew of releases when people contracts are about to be negotiated or
they have
to
be
signed. Do you ever notice there has to be a correlation because they broke the news that Eric Rowan has been signed with WWE. We got Tama Tonga. We got Drew re-signed the contract. Becky and Seth contract.
Rock gave him a sword.
Yeah. Do you think that these are all tied together that, we got to, you know what, I'm going to cut you with your $250,000 salary because I need to bump this one up?
Yeah, of course. It's any business organization, you're going to have that. Like Nike's about to lay off a bunch of employees and they had a good year. You know what I mean? It's weird, but it's like, it's almost like the more successful you are, the more fat that you have to cut because now your operating costs go up. And
WWE is making money hand over fist.
Yeah, and they have to go with guys and say, look, we're going to go with you because we know you can bring us the larger amount in the run. So think about it. If wrestling's hot right now and it's going to be hotter, sure, we'll pay you this money up front now is because we know we're going to use you to help this become even bigger than what it is. And there's no pressure on you to do it. It's because the business is hot. But because you're here, you're the driving force behind why we're doing it. It's worth the money I'm giving you. I'm going to see that back. I want to see that back in T-shirts.
That's why people are talking about scripts. You know, his contract won't be renewed.
You can tell they like him. You can tell they like him because they didn't release him. They just said once his contract is up, they've probably informed him we're not going to re-sign you.
Well, and that's usually what happens. But see, here's the thing that happens. Because I learned stuff today. The biggest misconception is them when they do get released, we find out about it like, oh, they got released, but they still under contract, so it's not a non-compete clause.
Sure, because once
they don't have that in their contracts. It's just that you release, you're going to be released, and then we'll hear, oh, so and so got released, but the whole time they
wait for the contract to run out.
And some people will, if they ask for their release and granted, boom, they can go working.
It's like Jinder Mahal. Like, he said, well, I quit. I asked for my release. So I don't know. There's a lot going on. Matt Hardy is kind of working on a handshake deal. Jeff Hardy's contract is going to be up soon in AEW. There's a lot going on, gentlemen. But it starts this Saturday. It starts this Saturday live at 1 p.m.
Baby.
May 4th. May the 4th be with you. We have Backlash in France. Backlash in France. Puerto Rico was fun last year. I can only imagine what they're going to do for France. I'm sure the WWE is going to make the most of their time in France.
Ready.
Yeah, that's the life we're trying to get to. So let's just go ahead and make that trip. So we're looking forward to it. I appreciate the conversation. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. They're still coming in. It's ridiculous. I'm looking at the numbers. Thank you all for hanging out with us late. This is usually our West Coast group. That's got to be people from the West Coast that's coming in at this time. But we appreciate you. Please follow us on all social media platforms at Wrestling Realm. Subscribe to our Patreon, our Twitch channel, and our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm. Also, don't forget, every Tuesday, 8 p.m., Championship Culture at youtube.com/Wrestling Realm. Playlist Championship Culture. Watch all of season 1. Watch all of season 2. Catch up on all the shenanigans. So that way you'll know all the inside jokes and little quips that you keep hearing on the show.
All the shenanigans.
All the shenanigans.
Yeah.
I'm sure next week will be
Why? Because why?
Everybody has a story.
Because everybody has a story.
With a
That's how he
tip.
says it.
He said with the tip.
King of the tip.
Shout out to the real Dwayne Allen designing this great shirt. WrestleRoom.com.
Nice. I need that shirt. WrestleRoom, definitely. Go to WrestleRoom.
You've seen it in white though.
Shout out to Dwayne Allen for designing this beautiful shirt.
I like that shirt too. That's pretty cool too. There's a lot going on right now.
Is that a hat that you have on? Did you design that hat that's on?
Realness? This thing right here? I don't know.
That black hat that's on there?
Interesting. It's got some letters on it.
Man over there looking like Missy Elliott or Run DMC.
I like as I was walking over to the desk, I was like this. I just felt like this pop like a brick.
And he got the chain on. And he got the chain.
Right.
That's the part that y'all missing out on.
But you know crazy about this?
153.
I got oh man, it's gonna be great. I got some. You know, crazy part is about the WrestleRoom merchandise. First of all, I'm like about to like bulk buy everything and like try to do something crazy with it. And two, there's a couple of things that's not available on our store for us to make that I'm going to like custom pieces that I'm working on, and I'm like, oh, these are about to be fire. So just give me some time. Just give me some time. In the near future. So if you start seeing these Wrestling Realm custom concept pieces, it's like, oh yeah, I'm in my bag. In case you don't know, yes, I'm a designer, and I'm always looking for new ways to kind of implement. Like, okay, cool. What's drip?
Be careful what you say, because I know a lot of people will be watching. They be saying, "Look, we need designers. Let's talk."
And I know a lot of Brian H's that always go, "I know somebody," and I'm like, Brian H, don't refer me all the time.
I stopped that 6 years ago. I learned my lesson.
Listen, it was a rough time back then, so I appreciate all the business.
Kept shooting the sky. I kept getting blocked.
Would you say he has all those drip?
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
Would he be the king? Would he be the king of the drip? While you the king of the tip?
All of
the lot going on.
It's time for Rome after dark.
And then he would be king of Baltimore. So you got the king of Baltimore, the king of the tip, and the king of the drip.
Yep, ladies and gentlemen, we've gone too far. We're getting out of here. We'll see you next week. Backlash this Saturday. So much to talk about. And on that note, we out. Peace.
Houston, we have a problem. Yes!